Hello, how are you? I hope you're having a wonderful day. My name is Victoria. I am co-owner of OTR Smokehouse. We are a little food truck with big dreams, serving really good food of the grilled smoked varieties, along with our amazing sauce. I'm having troubles talking today, I think, as you can tell already. Today I thought I'd talk to you about the Manufacturing Extension Program and how it is affecting us in Ohio since the funding has been cut. So, the Ohio Manufacturing Extension Partnership is a state and federal initiative designed to support small and medium sized manufacturers. As of early 2026, the program is currently facing a critical funding suspension by the federal government. And if you notice, I'm reading off my laptop because I've kind of gone down a rabbit hole with the AI about this whole thing to try and learn more. So we used the NOC, the Northwest Ohio Cooperative Kitchen, for our production of our amazing sauces. The facility there has been beneficial to us in helping us to grow our business. So when we started the food truck, we knew we didn't want to sell someone else's sauce, so we created our own. Then through customers saying how much they loved it and wanted to purchase it and we couldn't sell it, we found the Northwest Ohio Kitchen, which we lovingly refer to as the NOC. The NOC helped us to understand where to get our barcodes, where to get our nutrition facts, where to get our labels, who to check the labels to make sure that they follow the regulations lines for the state and federal governments, to take the acidity class, to send all of our sauces, a sample to Cornell University so that way they could test it for the acidity level and send us our processing letter. And then once all that was done and we had all that together, along with our jars and lids, we were able to produce at the facility and be inspected to get our canning license. So we got our canning license at the end of, in November of 24. So all of 25, we have been producing our sauces in jars as needed. Since we are so small and just started production, we aren't going through it as fast as we'd like. We're hoping that it will grow. In time, we'll have a website, and I think that will be most beneficial for us, which is kind of why I started doing these videos here and elsewhere to try and help get the word out about our product. So right now I'm doing videos on, well, it doesn't matter for you what day it is, but I've been doing videos on Fridays, Saturdays, Sunday, and Mondays. And through Facebook, I have determined that Mondays will be Marketing Monday, and it will not be marketing us because, I'm marketing ourselves all the time. I will be talking about other local people in Northwest Ohio who are creating amazing products or food items. But for Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I'm kind of a little in limbo still. I have figured out how to rig my camera so that way I can be in the kitchen and do some cooking for you using our meats and sauces. But unfortunately, like I thought, you're not going to be able to see me, but you'll be able to see everything I'm doing perfectly. And due to the fact that I don't have an oven, if I have to use an oven for something, it'll be a toaster oven. So that's going to be fun. Good times. So, back to the Ohio Manufacturing Extension Partnership, or the Manufacturing Extension Partnership that is, nationwide. It's in all the states. But here in Ohio, we have 6 manufacturing facilities, not all necessarily doing canning or food items. I think a few of them are doing food items, but I'm pretty sure that our facility is the only one that does canning. Based on my little bit of research I did back in December, I did see them doing some food prep and for production and whatnots, but not canning like our facility does. So that's very important for us because the equipment for canning is, it's so expensive. So expensive. So, the funding freeze in December was brought on by the National Institute of Standards and Technology, also known as NIST. they abruptly suspended approximately $6.1 million in federal funding for the Ohio MEP. The cause of the freeze was triggered by preliminary audit findings and reporting errors identified by the Office of Inspector General. And the impact has impacted regional centers have begun winding down operations with over 100 jobs at risk across the state. Governor Mike DeWine and several lawmakers are currently pushing for a restoration of these funds to prevent permanent closures. Now, I will say that if there is fraud, inaccuracies, things of this nature, I do want it caught. I mean, it only takes one bad apple to spoil the bunch, is what they say. So I would like to if there is fraud, I would like to take that out of it, because then it'll be even more beneficial to us manufacturers, because then we'll have more monies instead of some of the monies being stolen. Especially since it's coming from the taxpayers, right? Like, I'm paying taxes to help facilitate grants, to help facilitate small businesses, because this is like a stepping stone to gain sales and knowledge of how to do the workforce and all the things, and to grow into maybe one day having our own facility. I mean, these 50 gallon to 60 gallon vats that, have heating elements all in them, so they're a nice even cook with a little valve coming out the bottom so you can fill all the bottles. Those things ain't cheap. Oh no, they ain't. And then you've got the, the inkjet, which can make the labels, and the label, you can throw the labels on, and, not cheap. I mean, we just like to have a vat, but maybe one day. That's why we have big dreams, because one day we would like to have a facility where we're producing our sauce and packaging our meats and sides for retail. Let me tell you how the FDA has been a battle with that. We keep asking them how we can facilitate packaging our really good cooked foods for retail, and they keep sending us information about raw foods. Good times. So we're still working on that. But there was a funding freeze and the cause and the impact. So the 6 facilities that have been impacted are MEP at Columbus State Community College, the Magnet over at Cleveland, which is the largest manufacturing facility, and I believe it's the oldest, as it's been there for 40 years. And then ours, the Northwest Ohio Cooperative Kitchen, or, well, it's SIFT, which later on I can tell you what SIFT means. Southeast, we have OSU South Centers. In the Southwest, we have TechSolve, and in the West, we have Fastlane. So these are all manufacturers, not necessarily just of food, but anything that would be manufactured, for production, for retail. Core services, while operations may be limited during the current funding review, the program's primary services include process improvement, workforce development, technology adaptation, and cybersecurity, which is all beneficial to a micro business, small business, or a medium-sized business to learn how to, implement lean manufacturing operational efficiency, or training programs to train our workforce, helping us to adapt to new technologies that are coming out, and definitely cybersecurity. That's a big one. So what led to the NIFT? Okay, so what are facilities doing to remain open? So there's been significant workforce reduction, like, for example, the Magnet in Cleveland, the state's largest center, has laid off 37 of its 76 full-time employees. And it's now operating as a freestanding nonprofit. So they're like going out on their own to be a nonprofit without the funding. Being that they're the longest standing and it's so big that, maybe they have a lot more resources that they can pull from. They probably have a lot more connections with others that can help them to remain open. But 37 people. So the rest of the people there, they're taking on extra responsibilities that those people had. Operating as independent nonprofits, some centers like the Magnet are attempting to pivot away from the federal MEP designation to function as independent entities while they fight to restore their status. And that's kind of like what the NOC is doing. So we've gotten help from the Wood County Economic Development and from SIFT to help fund the facility till the end of March. Currently, we did a roundtable last night trying to brainstorm ideas on how we can do crowdfunding, how we can get, this information out in front of the public for those who may want to support this action. So, different ways that we can get the word out. The facility is open now, so if people would like to go check out the Northwest Ohio Cooperative Kitchen and take a tour and see what it's all about. They are still onboarding, and they are pushing back the $250 fee to onboard due to the fact that we're not sure if we'll be able to sustain the facility until after December. So some are operating as independent nonprofits. Some are scaling back services. Centers are winding down or halting critical projects, including modernization research, workforce training, and technical assistance for the 14,000 manufacturers they support. Yeah, they've scaled back a lot at the NOC, so we don't have like the handyman that will come fix the equipment if something goes wrong with it. That had to stop. And with the grants, you can only use the money in certain ways. It's not like you get grant money, you can just do whatever you want with it. They have allocated funds for various things, and not only the funds, but the equipment. So the equipment that they use, if it can't be sold to somebody else to garner monies, that would be going against the grant and breaking the rules of the grant, because the equipment is only functioning or able to be used as a non-profit, and that's it. So either the NOC keeps going, or they sell it to another non-profit, or if it just all gets dissolved, then there would be a way to go about that. I'm not sure about that, but scaling back services, and then seeking emergency state intervention. So they're reaching out to the lawmakers, they're putting pressure on Governor Mike DeWine, trying to get him to release the state portion of the funding, but unfortunately it's like a domino effect. Once the federal funding stops and is suspended, it suspends the state as well, from what I understand. And they're just doing their best to figure out how to keep their facilities going, is what I'm seeing. And then community and private support, doing crowdfunding campaigns. But centers are leaning on an extraordinary show of support from the private sector. More than 700 leaders and 350 manufacturers have signed formal petitions to restore funding to prevent the permanent loss of specialized engineering capacity. Despite these efforts, some facilities, such as the Center for Innovative Food Technology, SIFT. See, I knew we would get there. All these acronyms, I can't remember them all. But so I'm going to say that again. The SIFT is Center for Innovative Food Technology in Toledo, have warned they may be forced to suspend operations entirely if a resolution is not reached soon. And we really would not want that to happen as a producer at the facility, because that's one of the things you have to put on your label, is where the product is produced. And we bought a bunch of labels with their address on it, so if we can't produce there anymore and we have to find somewhere else, which I don't know where we would go, but we would have to put the kibosh on all our labels and print new ones with the correct address of where we're manufacturing at. So the allegations that led to the suspension of funding for the Ohio Manufacturing Extension Partnership are related to financial data reporting errors and inaccurate reporting of economic impacts uncovered during the federal audit, such as the National Institute of Standards and Technology, which is NIST, and the Office of Inspector General is the ones who put the kibosh. Like they're the ones that say, hey, there's problems here and we're just going to stop this for the state. Now, if there is fraud, I want them to find it. I really, really, really want them to find it. But I'm hoping that maybe after that we can rebuild this partnership, or maybe it's a good thing and we'll actually somehow get the facility to be a freestanding nonprofit through other avenues. Maybe more local avenues would be beneficial. I know I've always felt that the government was too big and that the states should handle more of their own things, and that, you know, then it should break down into the communities, because the community knows best who deserves help and who doesn't, who's doing their best they can to get ahead and who's not, and who's just kind of mooching off the system, because nobody likes a moocher. No. So, unreliable economic impact data, overstated return on investment, mandatory surveys. Yeah, so I guess some of these facilities were giving their producer surveys about the Manufacturing Extension Partnership. That's against the grant rules. You can't do that. Yeah, and then improper program income reporting. So yeah, those are concerns, and if that's really happening, then yeah, we need to do something about that and have it fixed. Ohio MEP leaders, while cooperating with the audit, maintained they were not given the specific underlying documentation or a formal opportunity to address the preliminary findings before the funding was abruptly suspended, a deviation from standard procedures. The federal government has not made the specific report on the Ohio program publicly available as of January 2026. So from what I understand from our people is that this audit has been going on for almost 2 years, and that usually they are told, hey, we're seeing issues with this, that, and the other, what's going on? And then the facility is like, oh, snap, all right, we did this incorrectly, or we didn't realize that this is what you were looking for. Because sometimes the government forms, they're not easy to understand what they're wanting. They don't put things in plain language for the common man that's not in a certain, job skill or whatever. So I could see how maybe something's got a little mixed up, and if they were given the opportunity to fix it, like they were given opportunities in the past at our facility, and they were like, oh snap, all right, yeah, we see what we did here, and let's fix this, and then resubmit it, and everything's copacetic again. But yeah, I don't understand why it's taken so long to do an audit. This time around, they did not give them documents saying, hey, this is what we found to be incorrect. And they found a loophole or something to where they could just suspend it right away instead of giving them 30 days. So I'm kind of wondering what's going on there. But again, if you would like to reach out to, the Department of Commerce, Mr. Lutnick, he's the one to reach out to. Governor Mike DeWine is another one you could reach out to. I reached out to him in December, and I just got an email back with his letter from our wonderful governor, and it didn't tell me anything new, and I didn't see that he says, well, we're going to do this, or this what we're going to do. Just, pretty much the same thing that I'm getting from the AI on the laptop right now. So yeah, so I'm going to stop for now because I've gone a little long for you today. I hope you have found this informative, and I hope that maybe you will be interested in learning more. And don't trust the AI. Absolutely, like if there's a topic you'd like to delve in further, the AI is great for compiling, but you really probably should look at other resources to make sure you're getting accurate information. But yeah, and then, the AI will have questions pop up like, what are the reporting errors attributed? What is NIST role in the program? And such as that. So I will probably be looking at some more of this on the having the AI help. My youngest is going to be very angered by that, but it is a lot easier than trying to go to anywhere else. It's difficult to find information, and then the internet likes to scrub information. Like, and it wasn't just during these last 10 years. I mean, even 10 years ago, I would find an article, and then like a couple weeks later, I'd be like talking to a friend about it. I'm like, hey, I found this article, and I'll go back to find it, and it's gone. So, yeah, censorship's been going on for a long time, guys. Hate to tell you that. But I'm glad it's out in the spotlight now. And I'm hoping that more things come out into the spotlight and are taken care of in the proper legal ways with due process and investigations and evidence. Facts, not feelings, but actual facts. Like, I have this fact. It's indisputable. So I hope you found this informative, and if you have any thoughts, questions, ideas, maybe some helpful tips or tricks, maybe you have an idea of what I should do Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. Again, Monday is going to be Marketing Monday, and we will talk about my favorite products. All right, guys, you have a great day. Thanks for hanging out. Bye.